According to German news report, the German government agreed to return some of the stolen artifacts, and I think they've already started. But here's the catch. They were handed over to the federal government of Nigeria. Buhari then passed it on to the Oba of Benin, saying the royal palace is the rightful custodian. Let's unpack this in the proper context, historical context. When these artifacts were stolen, Nigeria did not exist. It was clear from where these artifacts came, from the Benin kingdom. It's not like you don't know where they come from. It's like universal knowledge. Nigeria, as we know it today, was an amalgamation of hundreds of kingdoms and nations. So the artifacts are simply returned to Nigeria. The true custodians, the people whom they actually belong to, still don't have them if they are just returned to Nigeria as a nation. For Europeans, these objects are just art. For collectors, investors, and museums, they are assets or cultural decor. But for the true owners, they are far more than that. Spirit, memory, meaning, identity, the craft, the living essence of the people. There's also the issue of political change, right? Governments, they come, they go. The future administration could easily undo the decisions of the previous one. We have seen that happening in those states, right? Obaseki gave land. Now the new governor says, this land, we're taking it from the museum. So, will these sacred artifacts not be better preserved by the communities and traditional institutions that created them and safeguarded them for centuries before they were looted? I don't know. I want to know your take on this. Drop a comment beneath. The bigger problem, though, lies in the European approach. Their system is no longer operated by traditional ethics or codes of conduct. So they fail to grasp that other societies might still have this intricate marriage between the classic government and traditional institutions. These artifacts weren't looted from Nigeria. They were looted from the Kingdom of Benin, which still exists today as a cultural and spiritual entity within Nigeria. Now, on the argument that everyone should have access, yes, access might mean little to people that don't even understand the meaning of what they are seeing. The rightful custodians can decide to make certain artifacts public, coupled with the awareness and enlightenment of its initial purpose. But one thing we should even remember is that some artifacts were not made for public display. In the African culture, you remember this Ngaji drum in Kenya? That boundary was destroyed by the European violation of tradition. So when you come to Benin, there are some artifacts that were in the storage. If you remember in 1897, when the British invaded Benin, they broke into some inner chamber to bring some specific artifacts that were not actually for public display. And there was like a process why some of these artifacts were made. Is it going to be proper to bring artifacts that are made by a specific traditional cultural group, ethnic group, tribal group that know the value? Is it proper to bring that now to the national context of one Nigeria and bring it to Nigeria? Or is it proper to keep it at that traditional institution and then make it accessible to all of Nigeria? Because you can imagine, maybe if they bring something from Ife, is that to go back to Ife or is it to go back to Nigeria as we now know it? So there are so many different kingdoms that things were looted from, and it is these people who created it and safeguarded it for centuries that probably will know best how to now bring it into the modern society. It's a question I'm wondering, because if it's going to go to Nigeria, let's say there's a like independent museum not connected to any of these traditional heritage royal houses institutions, independent, one Nigeria museum, let's just call it that, and all the artifacts are there because of the argument that make it accessible. Some of these things were not made for commercial, leisure, art, luxury use or experience. Some of these were tied to a specific traditional process and awareness. Where do these artifacts actually belong? And how should it be brought back by the Europeans? Is it just like bring it, dump it somewhere, they feel, oh, this place is good now, we've created it, let's put it there? Is that not still a kind of ownership structure there? Or should it be brought back in another format that really integrates the rightful owners of these artifacts? I want to know your comment. And of course, that thing that happened in Edo State, I've read many things now. I went to start reading, researching more from the German side to see what they are putting out, because there's lots of news being put out from the German-speaking area about that show that happened at Moa Museum, and things are contradicting themselves. So I'm going to make another video on that, because from where the Europeans are coming, their perspective and what they are saying, it'd be like saying no match waiting to happen for Benin. So I'd love to know your take on this and integrate it then in that video I'm going to post about pre-incident. Well, actually even probably led to that and some food for thought. So this was all about Benin brands. Enjoy. Don't forget to follow, share our content. That's how you're going to help us grow. I'm not doing this alone. I'm just the one presenting it, bringing some of the ideas together. I have a strong, beautiful, very small team, very young Nigerians, and it's so beautiful to see how engaged everybody is, and the process of research. You tend to see people like, oh my god, I didn't learn this in school. Oh my god, I didn't know. It is amazing. So you want to support us. You have so much in stocks, and at the same time that we're posting here, we're building our library on both. You're building the platform, and as I told you, we're creating a course to enable you to, as a storyteller, maybe you're from Sudan, maybe you're from Ghana, maybe you're from South Africa, you want to be part of this new library that we're creating, digital library that we're creating of African stories, and it's going to move further to different areas that will really empower the next generation with Afrocentric information, so that they know that they are great, they're just humans with flaws, and they can be even greater. That was it. I'm Joana. See you in the next content.